let's see if I can use the clicker, perhaps. Good afternoon. It's a delight to be here and to see all these bright, young, shiny faces. I was recently in a conversation with some other fellow workers throughout Central Appalachia yesterday, and we were really talking about how we need to more explicitly think about our succession plan. So, to my fellow locavores and fellow activists, we really look forward to your ongoing contribution, because we certainly need to all animate this great turning that needs to occur across the world today. So I always feel like I'm an emissary from the organization, and certainly the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of food and farm entrepreneurs that ACENet has served over the last 25 years. We're a community-based economic development organization, and we primarily serve the 32 counties of Appalachia, Ohio. So here we are in Belmont County. You're certainly in our service area. We've always been delighted when we've had students come over and make salsa and other products in our Food Ventures Center. But I think what we've really been trying to work on, certainly for the last 20 years, is how do we reorganize, rebuild, really reanimate a restorative local food economy. And that, I think, has been the depth and breadth of our work, certainly over the last 20 or so years. Obviously, things are changing. When I started doing this work 30, 40 years ago, the whole concept of eating local did not reach the tipping point that I think it has in the last couple of years. So there's many trends that have been very favorable. I think there's more political support than there ever has been in recent years as well. We're very fortunate in southeastern Ohio, certainly this area of the state, to have always had diversified agriculture. So not to diminish, I think, the struggles that family farmers, organic growers have experienced in recent decades, but in many ways we are blessed because we have a heritage that really supports diversified agriculture. And as I travel across the state and do more work in Ohio, and certainly even in states beyond our borders, people are really looking at what we've been able to do in southeastern Ohio and Appalachia, Ohio. Probably what we're best known for is the operation of the Food Ventures Center. We've served quite a few tenants in our facility, and I'm just going to kind of click through sort of quickly some of the faces, some of the people in action within our facility and within the region. I think one of the opportunities that we have really seen as we've developed this infrastructure is not only are food and farm entrepreneurs given the opportunity to utilize shared infrastructure, but they really learn from one another. And I think being elbow to elbow, certainly in recent years that we've sort of outgrown our space, really trying to figure out how they can work more cooperatively, more collaboratively with one another. And that has really cooked up quite a bunch of collaboration. So many of our food processors, our bakeries, our organic growers, they're doing things together. Many of the bottlers are buying local ingredients from local farmers. Obviously, in our area, we grow a lot of tomatoes and peppers. I think in our facility alone, we probably have about 20 businesses manufacturing salsa or some sort of tomato sauce, because we're just so rich in those types of ingredients, especially along the Ohio River. So this is always a show, slideshow that's hopefully helpful after lunch with relatively full tummies, because I think you might be a little bit tempted otherwise. A lot of our food products certainly are still very handcrafted, even in our thermal processing room, which is probably our most automated technology. It's still, very small batches, but on the other hand, folks are making, a good amount of product. We have a number of entrepreneurs who might be doing anywhere from 500 to 1,000 cases in a long shift with helpers. We have all types of products, and I've brought a little display here too for folks to check out. But every type of, I would say, business is in our facility. We always say it's a diverse ecosystem. We have moms who have maybe some great recipes that they've developed into product lines and they sell at our area farmers markets. We have farmers coming from all across southeastern Ohio, lots of photos of tomatoes, folks. We always got photos of tomatoes, coming and really preserving the harvest, maybe for their own restaurant self-provisioning or maybe to create products that they sell in wholesale grocery stores. So I'm just going to click through some of this. And some of the faces. I think many of our folks are very innovative. The middle photograph there is of Chris Schmiel. I talked to some folks here today before our session who had visited the Paw Paw Festival in Albany, Ohio. So we've really created a whole celebration, a whole culture around local food. We have many younger, beginning farmers starting out who I think are really supported by the strength of the network that's developed over time. And we have, a lot of new innovations. Many folks are doing greenhouses, high tunnels to really extend the season. These are some lovely photographs from Green Edge Gardens, which is one of our largest certified organic growers. Some garlic from Rich Tomsu, some of his young interns who've helped out on Ann and Rich's farms. Lots of pictures of produce. I think the other thing that's very special for this area is the diversification of crops. So we do have orchards. We have more folks doing berry production. Many of these ingredients are now getting turned into value-added products. A lovely photograph of Neil Cherry at our Athens Farmers Market. We've had a wonderful market in operation since 1972. It's the largest year-round market in the state of Ohio. And many of our entrepreneurs tend to be family-based businesses, many owned and operated by women. We'll just continue to click through some of these. This is Herbal Sage Tea, Maureen Burns. There's some of her products. I brought one of them with me. Many of our salsa businesses have really grown over the years. Chris Schmiel and Michelle Gorman, Integration Acres, really started out with Paw Paws and now have expanded into more cheese making. So not only do we have wonderfully preserved Paw Paw products, we also have wonderful cheese from their family farm as well. And who can live without a Paw Paw popsicle? I certainly can't in the middle of the summer. So we'll just click through these pretty quickly. Snowville Creamery, probably one of our newest success stories, buying from local dairies, processing the milk usually the same day that the cows are milked. Here's Warren Taylor. He refers to himself on his business card as the dairy evangelist. And he certainly is out and about talking about what real milk tastes like. Very successful. One of our newer business operations in our facility is Shagbark Seed and Mill, and I've brought some of their products with me as well. So we'll have some opportunities here to answer some questions. As you can see, I'm just going to click through pretty quick, and I would be more than delighted to share with you any of the success stories from the entrepreneurs that we work with and serve. Thank you.
What might Olney learn from your organization's experience? For some of you, university, but to connect some of, more explicitly connect some of what you shared in the presentation of how you understand Olney.
I'll start. I think the one thing that I emphasized initially was that you need to listen to your students, because they are the ones who are going to give you the inspiration and the motivation to make change. But I would add to also listen to the local community, and I don't think it's not necessarily just because of the local foods movement or anything like that, but I think the more that we can expand that word community to be not just our school community, but the wider community, if you can get people involved. that's one of the exciting things at Sterling now is this whole local foods movement and activity that's going on in local towns that 10, 15 years ago were virtually dead because the mills had all moved west and the farmland was all used up. And now suddenly there's this resurgence. So listen to students, listen to your local community, involve everyone, make that community truly the wider community.
There's a little funny poem I used to like to say to my boys. Just around the corner, you just might see a happy young dinosaur dancing in the street. That became a metaphor for me to realize, you know, life is full of corners. There are unending corners, and around any corner, you might just see something imaginative, something creative, something that might be just about to happen. And it's up to us to be aware and to see with our eyes, hear with our hearts, and to take advantage of the opportunity.
I was really taken by the reference to John Dewey and experiential learning, because that was exactly the basis of Friends Road College. And what I would add to that is the opportunity for experiential learning in a group context when students go out on expeditionary. It's so much more enriched when that learning is collaborative. And I know that undoubtedly happens here, but I would really emphasize that from my experience at Friends Road College and with Quaker Institute for the Future, where our research is collaborative research rather than sort of individual academic research. We try to do our work in a collaborative, Quakerly discernment way.
Is it on? I can't tell. Okay. Never sure if I'm reverberating. I'm a former school teacher, so I have that resonance anyway. I think one of the things that ACENet would be delighted to share with the students here is we've had a lot of experience working with students and youth developing edible schoolyard projects and farms on their campuses. So, you know, we would be more than happy to help network you with some of the other existing programs that are out there. And I think, you know, any opportunity for shared experience, especially with regards to kind of building those peer learning networks, are certainly a strong assistance as folks get going.
I'm gonna ask here's a question for Ellen. You described several different community-based endeavors in a single rural area. What qualities were necessary in the lives of the individuals and families in order to cultivate the ground for so many shared projects?
There was a community spirit in the rural area that I think we were able to build on. It was all collaborative effort. It was not a kind of thing where you swoop in and say, we think this would be good for this area, but rather a sense of empowerment, a sense of ownership that became very apparent with all of these projects that we worked on over the 30-year period that we were there. That influence, really, you don't do it with the idea that you're going to come out with some kind of rewards later on, but you know, they come back to you in ways totally unexpected. And even now, years later, people will come up and say, hey, you were my mentor all these years. You were the most important thing in my life. Who knew? And so you're humble by that, and humbled by the fact that you're grateful that you had the opportunity to help in that development. But I think the important thing is the empowerment and the ownership that the community takes for these projects is probably the most important characteristic I would leave with you.